Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Zelda 2 Randomizer Tournament Quarterfinals. Round of 8 between Kool-Aid and Nerm. I'm joined with Buzz Thunder. Buzz, how are you?
I'm doing okay, Larry. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Happy birthday, Buzz Thunder. The races are underway. Everyone give your best birthday wishes to Buzz in chat in the styling of Buzz from chat. Thank you.
Oh, I don't know about that. That should be offensive.
How about this for offensive? This race, the first time around, ended with Nerm taking a wrong turn in Great Palace. And
yes, I do remember that. Well, actually, it was a death to Thunderbird, I believe. They kind of swapped places, or they swapped the lead once, maybe twice.
Yeah, we're gonna find Death Mountain right away here. Kool-Aid finds a pea bag in the desert encounter. I'm going to fix the cropping in a little bit, guys. Let's just let things cool down here. There's one cave. Was that two caves blocked by a boulder right there together?
Yeah, I did not see.
I saw at least one. I may have saw a boulder in the corner of my eye. Kool-Aid's farming the first half of that, or the back half of that fairy cave. Some XP.
A couple of towns over here. We find Rudo. That should be some great XP in that encounter. Nirm doesn't really want to deal with it though. He runs off. So Rudo right there, and then Saria right next to it. So we'll see our first spell.
I mean, the obvious answer is probably Fairy, but if it's not Fairy, what is the next available spell you would want the first one to
be? Reflect or Thunder or Jump even. Probably Jump, just because you can get downstab, I would guess. And that's what it is. Let me know if I'm a little bit ahead.
It looks like you said it just a little bit before we saw it.
Alright, my timer's at 150 right now, 51.
49, 50, 51, 52.
Okay, let me slow down about 5 seconds.
Alright, I'm back to watching the race. We see Palace 3 or 6 there. Kool-Aid's checking to see if that's Heart Container Cave. It is not. It's Parappa Cave. That jump spell was in Saria?
It was.
Okay. Yeah, it lets you get downstab.
Yeah, and early on, that's one of the more helpful things that you can get, for sure.
Find Raru for Nerm. One of the things Nerm likes to find, as Kool-Aid finds Palace 1 on the Western Continent. So 1 in Palace 9 so far.
And was that the hammer block that you saw directly underneath that town? Or did you see a different one?
I saw one for sure wherever Nerm was first exploring.
Okay, so potentially we have 2. Again, I was trying to get everything synced up, so...
That is the spell.
I don't know what it is. That just seems like a trend. That seems to be happening first time every time.
Spell for Nerm. What, getting this spell?
Yeah, spell seems to be a popular first spell get.
All right, there is the boulder. It's not. It probably was that one on Nerm's screen was probably not the one I saw before. Because
okay,
I believe it was blocking a cave that you access going south into the cave.
Yeah, we do have probably 2 boulders, and we do know that there will be an item underneath each of those, for those of you who are not entirely familiar with Zelda 2 Randomizer.
Yeah, there are 5 caves in the Western Continent that contain items. Only caves with items can contain a boulder blocking it that you need the hammer to break. Kool-Aid's in one of them right now. It's Medicine Cave.
And lucky for him, it's not terribly a bad Medicine Cave. A lot of times you can have Dyras stacked up and take a lot of deaths. But he seems a pretty simple one with just a couple of Geldarms, as Nirm is entering another item cave, the Pea Bag Cave, which is easily identifiable due to all these pillars.
That's a heart container that Kool-Aid was not able to get to in Medicine Cave right now.
He does have a couple extra lives, so not a big deal. He'll get to it. He did run into a Dyra, but shouldn't be a big deal getting past him now that he's got full life. Oh, was it a Dyra? I was looking at the wrong spot, maybe.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Nero picks up the raft.
Raft and Peabag Cave. One of the items that is, well, I guess you could say it's the only item that is absolutely 100% required for this game. Glove is most likely required, but not 100%. We're just doing a little bit more exploration in the west.
They're the
so
two
looking
boulder-
for
wait,
looking for
it's-
town. Sorry.
Yeah, those were the two boulder caves I did see before. So it wasn't
Okay.
going south. It was just a regular.
All right. Yeah, right by each other. We're not at the point of the randomizer yet where you're going to have every single cave blocked by a boulder. It could happen someday, though.
Yeah, the one downside, if that does happen, I like to see people like think they're being trolls in chat when they're like, the randomizer should do this. Well, if the randomizer is going to make every cave blocked by a boulder, then most likely the hammer is just going to be in the grass tile.
Yeah, that's what would happen. But I was kind of thinking maybe you randomize that or put some boulder blocks over in the east too. Like maybe you need to get the hammer to do a pass-through cave, something like that.
Yeah, it would have to be blocked on both sides, though, because you don't want to risk a soft lock situation. Because if you come out the other side, and we knew this
you're
from
right,
a bug,
yeah.
you can't get back into the cave. You'd just be standing on top of the cave opening.
That is correct. I didn't consider that.
Boulder block grass tile, Unos in chat says, we only take suggestions from people who actually play this game, though.
Not bad. 8 boulders around the grass tile.
It's funny because in vanilla, I forgot exactly how many boulders there were. There were boulders in the east, or at least one of them, or 2 of them maybe. One that blocks the way from the water back onto the mainland continent, and one that blocks a pea bag, I think, out in the water somewhere as well. So certainly you can put boulders back in the east. It's in vanilla.
Yeah, I'm not terribly keen on vanilla. I've only completed 2 all keys runs.
Heart container in Trophy Cave.
Yep, another heart container. So 2 heart containers and a pea bag. Nothing. Why did I write pea bag? It's a raft. I don't know why I wrote that.
I think this is our last palace here, and it's Palace 5. So that's 1, 5, and 3 or 4. 3 or 6. Sorry.
Nothing that you really want to dive into early. 1 is probably worth it, but going into any palaces with this flag set, there's no extra keys. So if you don't have the magical key or the fairy spell, it's going to be pretty difficult to do anything.
Norm was really hoping that was Palace 2. That's his dream when he plays this game, that he can just wake up, find Palace 2, and just run right to the Dripper.
Yep, loves the Dripper enemies.
He can do it in 5 as well. It might take a little work to get there. Kulain finally can cast Jump, and he'll get down stab. Norm's going to pick up this heart container in Trophy Cave.
And we haven't seen the grass tile yet, correct?
I do not believe we have.
Okay.
So the easy way to tell what the palaces are is the combination of the very top of the pillar, like what it looks like. If it's a smiley face, Countess's smiley face, it's either 1 or 4. Like top of the pillar there, and Kulain's screen, that normally distinguishes 1 or 4. 2 and 5 have the same texture, sprite, and 3 and 6 have the same one. The differences between 1 and 4 are 4 has a MOA, 1 doesn't, outside. Between 2 and 5, 2 will have a red jar that drops from the statue when you hit it, 5 has nothing, and 3 or 6 you actually have to dip into to find out based on room layouts.
That's going to be fun when that's randomized or like removed completely. Just no pillar sprites at all.
Yeah, I internally debate what is a good setting. Nerm finally finds Saria. He'll be able to pick 3-tile island for Kulain through Parappa Cave.
It's a nice little pass through.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to take Fairy Cave backwards if we want to find anything here. I always, try to determine, like, what's a good... For the actual hardcore players of this game, what is a good way to randomize palaces? And, because I don't want to go through a very long 5 to find out it's Carrick, and I need to reflect. And,
Oh, right, you're saying putting Carrick in 5, yeah.
Yeah, and how would that translate over to changing the outside of it? I mean, you're going to have to dip into every palace just to find out what it is. What's the difference of finding out if it's the same in room number 1 or room number 2, I don't know. Up in the air about that.
Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Yeah.
That would just kind of force you to get absolutely every possible thing before you go into palaces, which is kind of my strategy anyways, but it would just be more heavily weighted in that direction.
Or it forces newer players to absolutely know every single room going in and to determine where they are, and that would discourage people. And again, if they're in the randomizer, at least in Zelda 2's randomizer, they'll be presented as options, so you don't really have to play them. But
right.
There's certainly a point from easy to learn, understand mechanics, and let's just make everything random for the sake of making things random because we can, and you have to kind of balance that out if you're creating a randomizer. So you get the new players and you sustain the older players kind of thing.
Yeah, I was going to say the last thing Zelda 2 needs is more discouragement of play, just because everybody's scared of this game normally in the first place, let alone to randomize it. People think this game is hard.
Yeah, 78 Times says he'd like Zelda 1 randomizer to have shuffle bomb cave locations. And yes, I would absolutely love that as well. I'm sure the majority of people wouldn't, because the further you take it from how vanilla is, the base game is, the less and less people that enjoy the randomizer, because it's too much of a change. Kulane's going to look around Death Mountain here. What's your opinion on that, Buzz? About options and stuff?
I think that as far as like bombs and trees, if you're going to change that in Zelda 1, I think it's a good idea. But that's not for... You wouldn't be able to race that. That would just be fun for casual. It's like, oh, I really like this game. I wish I had, a second quest, a third quest, a fourth quest, a 10,000th quest. But with those options, you'd be able to just, keep building yourself infinite possibilities. But yeah, as far as racing, you're not going to want to be bombing every single square. That's not going to happen.
And Eunice brings up the fact that in Zelda 1... If you change the palace layouts, Kulane finds Peabag Cave now, he'll be picking up the raft. If you change the palace layouts so you don't know what it is going in, it's kind of like when you play Zelda 1, it doesn't tell you what the level is. But in Zelda, you're not guaranteed to know exactly what you need going into the palace, whether it's Reflect for Carrick and stuff like that. You can be blocked by a Goomba, where you need a bow. You can be blocked by, a Dig Dogger, where you need the recorder. So any palace, you have the risk of doing that. Here, it's more set and more defined. You might need fairy in this one. You might need, reflect. You definitely need reflect for 4. So a little bit different. But we're comparing, titles with the same characters, but apples and oranges, really.
Yeah, entirely. I mean, that happens a lot, especially early on in a series. With video games where they kind of just can go in a completely different direction. Kind of like Mario 1 and Mario 2 are not terribly similar. They weren't even the same game, but that's what they called them, something different. You could argue the same about Zelda.
Yeah, and I'm still in the camp of, if the person creating the randomizer wants to make an option and presents it as an option and doesn't force it upon people, even if one person plays it, why the hell not? If you're going to complain about it, just don't check the box when you create your seed, Yeah,
I agree completely with that. It's as long as it's optional, yeah, throw in whatever you want.
Well, Kulane finds both ends of Fairy Cave here, and now I'm a little bit confused. We've seen the back end of Saria, right?
I'm not sure if we have.
Okay.
It seems like that might be the option, or Jump Cave or Death Mountain, as far as a way to get from one side to the other, but we've seen everything... I see, we saw Rudo, we saw Mido. Yeah, the only thing that we haven't seen is the grass tile.
And there it is, right in the dead heart of the swamp. Can I get some dig shake swa's in chat, please? Or
Oh, it wasn't even hidden. It was just kind of they didn't walk that way.
Yeah, more or less. I know it's a magic container though, so it's not really that big of a deal. We've seen the raft tile, and certainly logic can dictate that you need to take the raft over to the other side to get the rest of the stuff, to access the rest of the stuff. But I don't know if I've seen either end of Jump Cave. I can't tell for sure if I've seen both ends of Death Mountain. I've seen both players go into Death Mountain. I don't know if they were different areas.
It seems like everything is accessible, just laying out there.
Well, we do have 2 boulders blocking caves, and that would be Magic Container Cave and Heart Container Cave. So we've seen Rudo, we've seen Mito, we've seen everything. We've seen every palace, we've seen every town, we've seen every cave, and we've seen an entrance to Death Mountain. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of times the Western continent will be split in half, where you're kind of forced to do one of those things to get to the other side and find half the stuff, but not in this one.
Okay, we did see the other end of Saria. I thought so. So Kulain's now going to pick up the spell, as Nirm sets spell over to the other side of Hyrule.
And that should tie everybody up.
Yeah, for the most part, although Kulain got the magic container on the grass tile, Nirm never found it. Whether it's didn't want to walk through the swamp or scroll the screen and decided because of the way the coast was there that the grass tile, nothing could possibly be there. Because it was like 3-4 tiles off of the edge of the map.
Right. Those are the ones that drive me crazy, where they're just in the middle somewhere, because I tend to explore, along the border. Well, in Nabooru, it's directly by the raft tile. When you land in the east, we do have a life spell.
Oh, we call that waking up to Nabooru.
Yes.
Alright, Kulain was doing a little bit of science. He grabs Magic 3. Up A's. And gotta believe he's gonna head over to the east as well and pick up the life spell. Let's see if Nirm's going to go for some P-Bags. He is. He's only at 1-2-2. Kulain's already at 3-3-3. I wonder if Nirm's really banking on Palace 2, or if he just doesn't fight as much as Kulain.
Yeah, this didn't seem like a terribly difficult level. Seed. We haven't seen a lot of deaths early on, so... and you can kind of sail over, so there's a pretty good chance that you'll find a couple of P-Bags, and really it's, you can do farming if you want in the west, but if you go over to the east real quick and find 3 P-Bags, you're already up to like 3-3-3, something like that, Very quick.
Got the cross in the desert tile for Nirm. And Maze Island. So we'll see 2 items on Maze Island plus a palace. The palace could be 2 or 3 or 6. Or a Great Palace, actually. That's in the mix as well.
Yep, all the palaces are scrambled in this one.
And it is the other one of 3 or 6. We're gonna go item hunting here. We don't have the glove. We don't have the boots. So might as well go look for the free items on Maze Island.
Yeah, this early on, really, explore the overworld, get all your information, then try to get the most easiest and most readily available items, just so you're ready to go and you can get into palaces.
Yeah, not only easy and readily available, but if they're grouped together, like in New Kasuto, and you have a way to find both of them, or you have the hammer and you're going to go into Death Mountain or Maze Island, there's 2 items, so it's your best play percentage-wise.
Yep, that's the way I do it. That's the way I have learned.
Palace 1 was on the western continent, out in the open. And it is surprising that, we don't have the magic key and we don't have fairy. And there are 2 more keys than key doors in Palace 1. But who am I to question people who are still alive in the tournament while we are not? Magic container in the kid location on Maze Island.
I say, did we see the cross was on the desert tile, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, in Palace 1, you're most likely going to do an up A at some point. So if it's not terribly far out of the way, there's not really a need to dive in there because it's not going to be a lot of backtracking to get back to it. So you might as well just not even try to deal with that risk of getting key blocked out of there. I mean, when there's so many other spells and items that are available, potentially available in the world, so.
If I was Kulain at 333, I may have given it a look because I could have utilized that gem for a higher level. Nurum being 112 or whatever he was when he came to the Eastern Continent, I might have just went to the Eastern Continent to pick up some P-Bags, get some levels, come in, maybe have Fairy or the Magic Key at the time. I attempt to do one, and then place the gem for a higher level so I don't need to bank that much XP. It all depends. Again, the run of play, if I'm in there, and
yeah, there's a lot of situational decisions that's really a huge part of Randomizer, and that's just a specific point, what you're getting at right there.
We're looking for the second item on Maze Island here. I feel like Nurm's covered at least 3/4 of it, or 15/16 of it.
Yeah, he ran into encounters in a couple places. Generally, you want to avoid the encounters if you can. It is stuck up there in that corner. And there is a magical key for Niram, and Kulain's not going to be far behind finding that. And then, now our Palace 1 doesn't seem so intimidated anymore.
Well, here's where I play the role of announcer, and Kulain's really going to back my comment here. Kulain, a guy who wants to play as fast as possible, and that tile being in the upper right-hand corner of Maze Island, he may not be looking for it anymore, especially if he arrives and finds the glove anytime soon. He may not go up there. Nurm may have a little bit of advantage with having the key, especially without Fairy, but even when you get Fairy, Kulain may have to manage his magic and take intentional deaths and stuff to get through palaces. So, interesting play there. Corner of the map was the key, and Kulain is opting to leave Maze Island and not try to find it.
Yeah, I don't know why. He knows that there's a free item there, and it wouldn't have taken you a terribly long time to go and find it, regardless of what it is. But again, it could be the glove or it could be the key, which right now is just a very helpful thing to have, especially early on when you find that key.
Well, Nurm's going to take the key and go right back into Palace 1. But how many times have you watched a race, a tournament race, or one of your friends playing, or people you don't like, and you've seen them go into like New Kasuto or Maze Island especially, and like never want to go to that third screen because quote unquote it takes too long to do?
Yeah, that's a common thing that happens for sure.
And he would have had to go through at least one encounter that I saw Nurm go through. Maybe it was a couple. And here's a key door right away for Nurm, so maybe a good play not going in. P-Bag Cave on Eastern Continent for Kulain.
Yeah, so the item might be over here. I mean, the entire palace might be over here, so there's a potential that the whole thing was key blocked.
And there's the glove.
Wow, very big find.
Yeah, I mean, a huge find, and you have to worry a little bit, though, that finding the glove there now means he's never going to look for that other item unless he needs a spell item on Maze Island. And by that time, it'll probably be like one of the last places he's checked because he's been there already. And Nurm could really capitalize on, even though he doesn't have the glove, quicker palace exploration in the meantime.
Yeah, it really comes down to Fairy Spell, where it is, how hard it is to get, and how expensive it is to cast. He's already at Magic 4 with 5 magic containers, so he can most likely cast it twice, which is generally sufficient for going into palaces.
And Sports Hefe is right. Kulain did get neither item in Maze Island. So I guess having one, he may have not gone back for the second one, but he may opt later on if he especially when he needs a spell item to then check and maybe get the key then. But how late is too late for making use of it though at that time?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a real possibility for that because we've only seen 3 of the spells and none of them are required spells. So there's a good chance that you're going to need at least one spell item. I mean, that chance is there anyways, but now we know that the odds are definitely in the favor of that direction, that thing happening.
Here's the item in 1. And it's the kid, so potentially has one of the required spell items. But it was in Palace 1, so it doesn't seem like that's big of a deal. It was behind. He had to open both of the natural key doors in the palace, and then the one blocking the item as well. I don't know how many keys he picked up along the way. I saw at least one.
Yeah, I saw it. Well, if there's a key over here on this encounter, but he's not even going to check because he doesn't need to. If there's a key over there, the rest of the palace is accessible. But going left initially, you do need a key because you have to unlock that door before you get to the bridge, and there was a key on the bridge. And then another key in the next room.
Fire is not linked this round, and extra keys are turned off. So there wasn't even a guarantee that key would be in this palace, and that was something I wasn't considering when I said maybe I would have tried one. I probably still would have tried it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, even with those settings on, usually you can do it, but I mean, it's happened to me twice, and that's enough for me not wanting to go in there without Fairy.
Well, Thunder is right there available in Kasuto. Right where it should be.
Very nice. Thunder for Kulain. A big piece of the puzzle, very much required to beat the game, as you need to kill Thunderbird in the Grey Palace.
And he finds Palace 2.
And that's definitely a full clear of Palace 1 for Niram.
Yeah, the item room was a bit away, a ways away from the start. But he handles Horsehead here. He's gonna get enough level XP there to cancel the level ups and take attack 4 when he places the gem, which is right about now.
Yeah, that was just about perfect for that to happen. And Kulain is in the second P-Bag Cave, does find the medicine.
So one spell item apiece between our players, and only one potential spell item out there that is absolutely required, and then we can debate whether Fairy is or isn't. No debate, it isn't, but whether players will consider it one and make sure they have it. If you're Kulain, you want it, because you don't have the magic key.
Well, we haven't seen Hidden Kasuto yet, correct?
We have not, no. We have not seen Zeronia.
Still potential that, that we don't need a spell item if Reflect is in Hidden Kasuto.
$20-point Stalfos is on the Dripper. Kulain's going to work here and get his next level. No, he's just going to leave it 10 off and keep exploring. He'll get that very easily somewhere. Nurm's back on the Eastern Continent.
Kulain just taking the levels as they come, which is the new standard, I would say, as far as leveling. I've done that too. Once I get to attack 4, just kind of take whatever.
I said this before. I think it's one of those things that makes me personally a better player, just taking things as it comes, but also like more frustrated as well. In terms of like I took a little bit more time to be a little bit more comfortable, as Kulain just Highlander himself right into the lava. But you're doing it at a risk, and but certainly a lot of people, I think Digshake even included, has adopted the take every level as you get it later on. Maybe set your first few levels up the way you want, and then don't care anymore. There's the water tile on Nurm's screen, and there's a town. This might be one we've seen before, though. No, it's New Kasuto.
Yeah, this will tell us what our last free spell is.
6 containers to get the item from Bottle B.
But yeah, when it comes to leveling, definitely I pay attention early on, want to get to attack 4, but after that, you're going to end up with attack 6 by the end, so it doesn't really slow you down at all if you just take whatever. And I don't have a problem with it.
Well, there's Reflect in New Kasuto, so... So we don't need... Well, I mean... Considering where...
I mean, yeah, that's the... I mean, Kool-Aid might need it. Might need an item to get fairy, so he's kind of in a tricky spot here because he won't be able to go through palaces.
It would be the... I guess it wouldn't be the... Either one, I guess, could be fairy because you need to have fairy or the magic key, technically, before you're required to go into palaces. And since the kid was in Palace 1, that would normally say that that's not going to be fairy, but the magic key was just in Maze Island, so... I guess that rules that out.
And the candle is the spell item in New Kasuto. Pretty handy thing to have when diving into caves, which is what Niram's going to need to do to find that glove.
And there's Shield. I guess that was in Mito?
Yeah, that would have to be in Mito. Yep, cashing in the medicine for Shield. So definitely this lack of spells is probably going to force Kool-Aid to be searching for hidden Kasuto. Also, regular Kasuto, both Kasutos, because he doesn't have...
He has Thunder.
No, wait,
Nurm
my
doesn't.
mistake. He got Thunder.
Yeah.
Niram didn't have Thunder. Sorry, I was backwards with that. So he's going to be looking for hidden Kasuto.
But remember, Nurm also never found the P-Bag Cave that had the glove either. So, you know, while Kool-Aid might be stressing not having Reflect or Fairy right now, and he's going to try Palace 1, he's going to get quickly key blocked here to the left. He may be stressing not having Reflect, he only needs that when he gets to Palace 4. Nurm potentially needs the glove for 3 palaces.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was a down elevator there, so you might be able to go down that elevator and find a key.
Could be. He can't find a key in that direction because he is blocked. Nurm's going to take a pass-through right now. There's a question about, did Kool-Aid forget he had the glove when he did down stab on it? Nurm's going to cash in the kid here. He's without Thunder. There's another door in Kool-Aid's side of the screen. It's a little tricky. You can kind of be pressing down a little bit as you're hitting to the right, or you're trying to down stab and let go. So if you're fighting on top of blocks, breakable blocks above the lava, it is a little tricky sometimes, and it does happen where you accidentally down stab too long and fall through. I've seen everyone do it. It's not that you forget you have it, it's just that you're trying to deal with the situation and you held it down 1 frame too long or whatever.
Kool-Aid's going to take out Helmet Head and Horse Head. We're going to see if he comes back in and tries to find a key to the right. We don't know what's in that room because Niram never checked it out.
One of the things that, interesting, we haven't seen a lot of this tournament that was an option, great option last tournament, was do you take the key at the boss and turn around and try to parlay it into more keys or the item and then just come back and place the gem later. We've seen a lot of people skipping gems last tournament and doing such, taking the key and going to get the item. I don't believe we've seen any of it this tournament, really.
Not that I remember, no. I mean, it's not a terrible option or a thing to do if, well, for instance, what what just happened there, Horsehead is only a few rooms away from start, so you can kind of bank that gem, go back and cash it in, use that key for something else. But a lot of times you just want to get it over with if you're there.
How is this for a situation, Buzz? Kulain's done with 1. Is he done with the items in 1? Because if he is, he's never going to get Fairy.
Yeah, I was thinking. I thought he was going to do that. So that was Fairy in Darunia, hidden under the kid in Palace 1.
Yep.
Yeah, so Kulain doing all the wrong things as far as keys are concerned, and really the only thing Niram needs is to find that P-Bag Cave to get the glove.
We know Great Palace is on the Valley of Death, so Niram's not even going to try to do it. We know 1 of 3 or 6 is on the continental western continent, and the other one's on Maze Island. And I believe Niram's just looking for... Well, he's got to look for Kasuto, first of all. And he's looking for either P-Bag Cave. He hasn't found any of them. And then possibly Palace 4 here. No, what was this? 5. 2. Sorry, 2. Alright, here's Kasuto for Nurm. If I know Nurm, he's going to take this item and he's going to dive into 2. He doesn't care if he has the glove. There are drippers there. And that may be a couple extra levels. Although, I don't know, Buzz. At 35 minutes into the race and you're 4-2-3, I don't know if drippers will really do anything but slow you down at this point.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna catch those levels naturally again. It seems if you only have 5 gems to place, if you're at attack 4, you're gonna get to at least 666, just without even trying. So, really, I don't think experience is something that you're thinking about.
This is the one that the glove is in, I believe, because that's where Kulain was earlier in that area when he found the glove. Yeah, because the other one had the mace throwing. Oh no, it's the medicine. Sorry, the mace throwing. Lizalfos is guarding the glove.
Yeah, medicine is pretty worthless for Niram. He just wants the glove. And good thing for Kulain, he is going to come back and find the items here in Maze Island, and we'll get the key.
Well, that's if he thoroughly searches everything. He may do 80%, 90% of it, and well, that should narrow it down to where the other item is. I was going to say give up, but...
Yeah, I was going to say I hope not, with the fact that he's already been in here and decided not to check out these items anyways.
I was going to grab this magic container, and Nurm found the other P-Bag Cave, so he'll arrive shortly with the glove.
Yeah, well, it's still pretty close. He'll get the glove, and he knows that he's just good to go. Once Kulain gets this key, he'll be able to, won't have to worry about going into palaces, but the only thing that he needs to find to tie it all up is New Kasuto. So just the matter of finding one extra town, as far as, not having to worry about searching for extra stuff and just trying to go and place gems.
Clay might be trying to top off this level that he's just about at. He just grabs one iron knuckle and then then leaves. There's Nerman.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say Nerm is in 2 right now. Let's see if he pauses for the dripper. He sees it's a blue Stalfos. It's 20 XP, and he's going to move on. Probably the best thing for Nerm that they weren't expensive.
Yeah, no need to sit around and do that. Yeah, Kulain is going to find the key up here once he goes through this encounter.
Yeah, I was going to say the encounter was going to be so... Oh, sorry. It was going to be so small that he might turn around and just not do it, thinking there can't be any possibility there's an item over there. But again, if he's done everything else on Maze Island, it's got to be over there.
Yeah, he's seen enough that he knows it's most likely up here. And this should force him to go back and just knock out that palace. We'll see whether it's 3 or 6. The only thing that could happen was that he doesn't have fairy yet. So if it is 6, there could be a fairy block in there. That might slow him down a little bit, but other than that, he'll be able to get out of here and not come back to Maze Island, most likely.
Question is, will he go back? And I think this was a situation, your race versus Kulain in Swiss round number 1.
Yeah, that was. I made a lot of mistakes in that one.
You were in Palace 1, beat Horsehead, never came back to Palace 1. Palace 1 contained a magic container, which led you to the requirements to get the glove in New Kasuto. Kulain's in the same situation right now as Nurm is fighting Helmet Head. He's already done Palace 1. He has no business going back in there except for the item. Will he do it, or will he try to search the items in front of him first? And that remains to be seen. Is this looking like 6? I didn't see the first few rooms.
It was just that. That's the first room right there, the locked door going in. So,
all right.
Not identifiable as of yet.
Because I think there's one of those rooms in 3 and 2 of those rooms in 6, but this one's identifiable. And
yeah, I was gonna say that answers our question. Fairy required? Yes, it is 100%. So yeah, going back into 1 for that item is really gonna be the hang-up that Kulain has right now.
If you're Kulain, I guess the benefit of that is it was the second room in, as opposed to the last room before Barba in a full clear.
Yeah, that would have spent him a ton of time.
All right,
fortunate for that case, but here's the thing, yeah, no, you need fairy now, so at least he knows he needs items. We'll just see how long it takes him to decide to go back and dig that 1 out of 1.
Nurm either used a good use of pause buffering there, or his stream just had a little bit of slowdown, but it looked like he was mashing pause to slink around that encounter. Here's decision time. Nurm's in 3. If you're Kulain, what are you doing right now, Buzz?
Man, I'm going to try to do a palace and get the items in the palace and see what happens. I was going to say the worst thing that could happen to him right now is would be getting the hammer, because we know that there are 3 potential items underneath that hammer. So those spots would look like good places to go back to and search, but we know that they are not necessary. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to say he's got pretty much all the overworld items. I mean, until you get the boots, until you get the hammer, we've seen everything. So really, yeah, just do the palaces you can do and go out of your way a little bit to find the item. Hopefully that you get that spell item to be able to get fairy.
Nice use of reflect there for Nurm to take less damage from that Doom Knocker on his way through with the shortened ceiling.
Yep, some of the worst situations in the game are those Doom Knockers. There's really, if you don't have reflect, there's nothing you can do. You just have to get beat up by them.
Top 5 worst rooms in the game when it's mixed small and large enemies. I'm going to surprisingly put this one in the mix where Nurm is right now with the red polar bear idiots and large enemies at you at the same time when you're trying to Iron Knuckles especially. But if you have Thunder, cast it.
I was going to say that was a pretty nice 5 kill combo right there.
Yeah,
that was impressive.
Boots don't look like they're required nor useful in this seed, surprisingly. Everyone just found everything through basic exploration.
Yeah, I really don't think you had to take a cave.
In the east, you had to take at least 1 that I saw.
Okay, and then in the west, you have to take Death Mountain to connect the sections, but it's not a long trek. It's like it's a 1 or 2 caves away.
Oh, is that true? Death Mountain, you had to go through Death Mountain to get to the other side?
Yeah, I just saw it when Nurm came back to the west. I just saw him do it, and I was like, why is he going into Death Mountain right now? But he was just using the pass-through.
Simultaneous boss fights here. Kulain finds a quick Goomba in 5. Nurm has Rebonek on downstair block right now. So Kulain's very good at combat.
Yeah, pretty good Goomba. Guma was not hitting hard. Life 5 is really good. Oh, he had shield casted too. But I mean, to get in a fight with Guma where you can take 6 hits where he is right now is pretty rare. Usually you can only take 2 or 3 hits from Guma. Couple more gems placed.
And he's going to go back into 1, so this is probably the best decision on his part.
Yeah, very, very good decision for him right here. Let's see, he doesn't have Reflect yet, though?
He does not have Reflect yet, because the Reflect is blocked by the kid in 1. No, I'm sorry, Fairy's blocked by the kid in 1. Reflect is...
Yeah.
No, he never found New Kasuto, no.
I'm surprised that he wouldn't look for New Kasuto before going back into 1 for the item. That's kind of interesting.
He was a half a screen away from 1.
Okay, so
when
it was
he did
just
5.
right there.
Yeah. And speaking of 5,
well, he knows
now.
He needs a spell item anyways because he's like, I know I need Fairy, I know I need Reflect. So regardless, he needs a spell item. So that's kind of where he is right now.
Yes.
Okay, I was a little bit off on his motivation right there.
And I feel like Guma was the most direct path in 5. I saw Kulain go through the false wall, and Nurm did the same. I remember Kulain going up this elevator and going right, and pretty much finding Guma.
Guma with a U knocks Kulain into the fire there.
Gume.
Yeah, Gume.
Well, no, that was not the right path for Nurm. So maybe Kulain did up A in between. It's hard to tell. Like, this one thing I dislike when watching 2 races is I don't get a good feel for the layout of the overworld and the layout of palaces unless I'm focused on one screen, which means I'm missing whatever on the other screen. And I try to balance both, and I get just the most broken picture ever of the world.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I always think that we need to try one where one of us is watching one and the other's watching the other. But again, if you're running the tracker at the same time, that's not going to be feasible.
All right, I remember this room because it wasn't the dead end because you can see the pillars, the columns, as soon as you enter the room.
Yeah, so he'll have Guba coming up pretty shortly here.
And I believe coming up pretty shortly in one room is the item for Kulain. 2 attack levels higher, Nurm is, and he's no slouch in combat either. In fact, 7 or 8 runners left in the tournament are no slouch in combat.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they can hold their own.
All right, and there's the kid that's gonna lead to Fairy for Kulain. I don't believe we know that Kulain hasn't been in New Kasuto. I don't think he's seen Darunia either. It's both in the same area.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I saw him find Denver before anybody else, and then just duck out. So he's probably going to go over there. But really, at this point, you're like, you want to find both of those towns. You want to make sure that you need to be digging for items at this point. So hopefully that's what he goes and gets, and then he won't have to worry about. He'll be what do we call it? Full dig shake? Yeah, he'll be full dig shake.
I'm absolutely amazed that Death Mountain is your connector. Anytime I've seen Death Mountain be a connector only, and there was absolutely no other options, it's always been like the next cave from the first cave was the way out.
Yeah.
But like I love that because sometimes I try to trick my mind into believing that Death Mountain is the option when I missed a cave somewhere else. And it's good to see that actually we at least got that I know of one race in this tournament where that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit rare that it happens, but yeah, when you know that at least in this one, it's just the first cave. You don't even have to get an encounter in there. You don't have to do a cave buffer as far as avoiding an encounter. You just go. So it's actually becomes shorter than any of the other connector caves that there are. And here we go, Palace 4 for Nirm.
And 3 for Kulain. 4 was on the eastern continent. That's one of the 2 left for Nirm. and the other one is on Maze Island. But no Reflect for Kulain, no Fairy. He's got the Kid. He's got a free spell available to him. We know that's Reflect. Wonder, being in 3, if he's going to go for an item hunting and hope maybe he has the trophy so he can get all bases covered.
This would be the palace to do it, just because 3 is very, very short. Not a lot of turns. You'll get that item pretty quickly. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure if he's going to do it or not. He didn't have that fancy Thundercast there like Nirm did.
He didn't have the magic for it because he used magic prior. But look at this room. I mean, when you have polar bears coming at you and you have everything in the world throwing things at you or charging at you, it's like the worst.
Yeah, that one's Blue Iron Knuckle, Doom Knocker, Stalfos, or Super Stalfos, whatever they're called.
Little known fact, Dig Shake is in fact the Stalfos.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him stuck on a wall.
All right, Nirm's going to find a elevator here as Kulain goes into the Joshi D of BGT rooms. And finds Reba next, so he's going to be placing his 3rd gem here pretty shortly.
Yeah, we'll see if he goes back for that item, but the way he's playing, it doesn't seem like he's wanting to go back for anything, so I think it was like, oh, that palace is on my way to these towns, so I'll beat it.
Nirm finds the item room, I believe. I saw it in the corner of my eye. He gets a red jar from the first enemy. Walks away, comes back for the jar, because he needs the magic for potentially finding Carrick. And just leaves the item there. There's no need for the item right now. It's only going to be a luxury item. Magic container, heart container, boots, flute. Trophy that leads to shield or fire. Well, leads to fire, but he doesn't know that. Or the hammer that's going to lead to trophy for shield or fire, heart container. You know what I'm just talking about.
Yeah.
This is also a tricky room. Mix small and large enemies right there, especially when you get Iron Knuckles on top of those crumble bridges.
Yeah, it really depends what you're getting and which direction you're going. That one can be a headache for sure. But he does the right thing and just nope, I'm gonna cast. I mean, he does have to take a death here, but that's not a big deal. Just cast Fairy and get through that room. I mean, there's a handful of rooms in this game that's just your best option.
I called people out on that earlier in the tournament, especially when they wouldn't cast jump with 8 heart containers full magic, and they were trying to make 3 tile high jumps and missing 40 times in a row. But,
yeah, that happens a lot with that left exit only room in 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because you always take damage in that room. There's always a bubble that'll just run right into you. Casting jump is your better option.
And those rooms in 6 and 3 that have the elevator going down and then the big jump to the right.
Yeah, that's another place where people will waste a lot of time trying to wiggle back and forth and get it just right. Where, hey, cast jump. It's only 20 magic.
Or how about casting life before you die as well? Yeah, that's another one I see people do a lot.
Yeah, I'm a victim of that too. That just happens. Sometimes you don't. I'm bad at casting life. I forget about it.
Nirm's entering his...
Go
ahead.
Kulain just casted shield about 10 times to eliminate his magic there. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, because for those who don't know, the healer lady, the magic refill lady, she gives you 255 points of magic, and it will continuously go up until it reaches your limit. So you can fire off multiple life casts as it's refilling, or whatever you have to do. There's upstab for Kulain. So what you want to do is you want to deplete your magic before going to that second screen. Then you can cast either, the Fairy Claws to get through the thing, or jump for a super jump, or the long way, which Kulain went after one failed attempt because he didn't have Fairy. And your magic will be filled after the cast.
Yeah, I heard that you can fail that jump about 6 times, and it's still faster than going all the way through and around. But honestly, yeah, you just might as well go walk around and do it. And Kulain does cash in the kid, get a fairy spell. Good news for him. If I'm Kulain, though, I mean, New Kasuto really has to be on your mind. I don't see how it couldn't be. I mean, there's a free spell. You want to know whether that's reflect or not, or if you're going to have to keep digging for items. So you really have to find that. Especially, what are we? We're almost 55 minutes in. Yeah, that's a long time to not being fine, New Kasuto.
This is where the time I trick myself, and I did this in the play-in race as well, when I was trying not to go into Death Mountain. You trick yourself into plausible deniability, because there are situations out there, if you're Kulain right now, that you may need to find the boots to get the hammer, to bust open a rock, to get the trophy, to get reflect. Do you want to try to do all that, or do you want to just walk into New Kasuto? Like, that's the thing. Even if it's not there, what he's looking for, at least it's not time wasting. If it is there, it seems like a nice trade-off to do.
Yeah, as far as like your deniability, I try not to even consider things like that. Like, okay, I know. Well, for instance, I raced Kulain in a seed like this morning, and Death Mountain with the boulder, 2 boulder caves, like right away. So I was like, okay, I know if I get the hammer, I got those 3 items. But it's not like I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to do this, do that. It's still like, what is my easiest available item? What do I need to get? What do I have? What is available?
Yeah, you can trick yourself because of prior seeds you play and watch people do. You can trick yourself into things, and we've seen it, like required item always in Palace 5 or 4. You know, so people will find 5 or 4 and be like, hey, listen, I'm going to be that guy going for this item when everything else is left unchecked. Not just like, you know, down to 3 spots. I mean, we're talking don't even have the raft yet, and we're going to dive into 4 or 5.
Yeah, I really have tried to eliminate that from my game as far as just playing completely situationally, not based on what if this is going to happen? You know, it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe that happened once and you remember it because it was so weird, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going to happen. Again, our brains remember the bad stuff. We don't remember good stuff.
Kulain jumps over to Canadian Hole. He's Canadian. He didn't fall in. He's breaking the stereotype, and immediately finds a dead end.
That's weird.
I believe Kulain's on the path Niram was on, because I do remember this drop onto the ceiling drop to the ferry.
See, I think I saw Kulain do this, so ferry is only single required, not doubly required, I don't think. They're pretty close to each other right here.
Well, if he needed to get through that first room to get to this room, and this is the correct way, then it definitely was double required. Well, actually, I guess double required is like digging half a hole. It doesn't really... It's either required or not.
Yeah.
Niram finds the correct pass-through cave. I don't know if I mentioned it before. He found the item room and gave it up. But right through the pass-through Rebo refight is Barba.
Yeah, it looks like Kulain is 1 room behind. Unless I'm mistaken, I might be. Yeah, I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think he's multiple rooms behind, and a dead end, and a item room dead end behind as well. Barba down. Niram does a little headbanging there on the Saturn platform, the Joshi D platform.
833. This is the classic leveling strategies right here. So he's gonna get a 9,790 experience to spread across his levels.
Well, Thunder's castable. I wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't maybe take 1 magic level, but even you're not even guaranteed to reduce any costs. Just place them all into life, and if you can, take 1 magic level, or leave it. I don't know how many lives he has left, or just leave it and then get a magic refill on Thunderbird or something.
Yeah, that was always my before I started doing the refill strategy. That's what I liked. I like to go to Thunderbird 838 because then when you kill Thunderbird, it's basically like an extra life. Normally you have to kill yourself with Thunderbird no matter what, because you're out of magic, something like that. But if you get that life level from his, that magic level from his experience, that kind of negates that extra life.
Nerm doesn't have the flute, so he's got to walk around the River Devil. It's a 5.5 frame loss right there.
Doing really well. This is a very good pace, I would say. We're right at 1 hour, and he's going to be going into Great Palace. And yeah, Kulain unfortunately didn't find Nukasudo and kind of looked for extra items in certain places. It'll be difficult for him to catch up, but it's not over.
So Nerm was able to go up to life 7 and then get up to life magic 5, and then has pretty much magic 6 right there. So Jenny, Tommy Tuto, and Strats right there. Item room for Kulain.
Yeah, that might be the best one you've ever done, Larry. Let's see your 8675309s in the chat right now, please.
And your best Ric Flairs, please.
You can't do that in chat.
You can definitely do that in chat.
Well,
that
yeah,
gets
you
lit
can,
when you
but
do it.
It doesn't have the same effect.
So Kulain opts to. There was a little discussion in chat whether he grabs a magic container in 6. Whether, what would Kulain do? Is he gonna put priority on Nukasudo, or is he gonna look for items? And if he was looking for items, he probably would have done the item in 3, but he did the item in 1 when he was looking for items. So like he's not really doing a consistent thing, but in his situation, I can't blame him from getting the item in 6, so you don't have to come back to 6 if it is the item. So a little bit of a time lost there, but it saved a lot of time later if he did need to come back.
Yeah, from where he is, he doesn't know if he needs another spell item, and killing Rebanak and getting that item probably is only gonna cost him about, 20 seconds. So why not eliminate that possibility? Check it off your list.
I think we fictitiously decided it was like 45 seconds or something from entering the room to killing. In
another race, I said 30, but with his levels right here, I'd put it down to 20.
Speaking of 20, we have Great Palace here.
Here we go.
So nothing really changed in Great Palace except for mixed small and large enemies that was introduced 2 rounds ago. It's still a shortened Great Palace, and 25 to 50% of your rooms will get removed. Only removes rooms that have 2 exits get removed, though. But right away, Buzz, we have an Eon drop and 2 rooms that have multiple paths to go through. There are options.
So that went directly right into the Jackamus and then into the Eon, correct?
Yeah, elevator room into Jackamus room, into Eon room, into a dead end. So we have 3 areas we can go.
I'm gonna say, like, 2 years from now, every single room will sound like what we just said. So Eon and then Jackamus. Yeah, and then Choke Me, I Like It. It'll just be a foreign language.
We have the L7 room into the L7 room combination there, and Nerm's going to pretend he's dead and take the drop.
That happens more often than you'd guess.
This is the jar drop into just a regular fun room. I don't know how many lives Kulain has left, but he's at Barba now. He just flashed his menu and I didn't see it.
Yeah, he's if he doesn't have another life, he's in dire straits, but again, it's just Barba. His attack's a little low, but I think he'll be okay.
Money for nothing and jackhammers for free.
Exactly.
So Nurm just finds a drop, the lower half of a drop room. He's going to go into this room that goes down that has a jar in it. So we have still 4 options left for Nurm. If this is not the correct way to Thunderbird. The problem here is for Nurm. Well, not the problem, but the way the logic is he took a drop. And so far, like, you can't take a drop and go nowhere and be absolutely blocked from everything in the palace. You either have to go back to the beginning or find your way to Thunderbird and of course, Starklink thereafter. So this is either going to be the longest dead end we've seen in this tournament so far, minus maybe Link 7's versus Choke Me I Like It, or this is one of the correct ways. This could possibly be Start right here, and that's what I was leading up to.
Yeah, that would be a hell of a loop.
It wasn't. It was
Kool-Aid does place the gem.
Yeah, it was a one-piece chicken room that had a small enemy, but there's my answer right there. Kool-Aid places the gem in 6. Nirm finds Thunderbird, has to take a death here.
And we have seen, like you said, how many more options? 1, 2, 3, 4 different offshoots. In the opposite direction. So the odds of Darklink being in the next room or a couple rooms over are very high.
And we've seen one room you drop into as well. So not only Darklink in the next room, but if he isn't, possibly you're either going to be forced into a drop and not have like an option, or he's going to be very shortly thereafter.
And great levels too. I can't remember the last time I saw a Attack 8 Thunderbird fight.
And this is in a seed where Nurm didn't have the luxury of spamming his fun drippers. Thunderbird down in 1 hour and 6 minutes, and Darklink in the next room.
Yeah, crazy fast time. Very well played.
He is also racing a Hurricane. I don't know if it's there or not there, so we do definitely wish him and everybody else a little bit of safety. Well, actually, all safety, but...
Yeah, everybody, but especially those who are facing the elements.
He's going to have a couple stabs here left at Darklink, and down goes Darklink. Nirm is your winner, and that is a time of... I just split for some reason instead of pasting. That is a time of, 1 hour and 7 minutes.
I love that muscle memory.
It really, when you're trying to do a trilogy race where you don't have splits and you're picking up Triforces and you're splitting every single time.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun. But there's your winner. Advancing to the next round is Nirm. He's going to face the winner of Jackamus and who? Who am I insulting by not remembering their name?
Jam Evil.
Jam Evil, that's right.
He's the dark horse, I would say. Well, I don't know. Who could be a darker horse than Joshy D?
And there is Reflect now for Kool-Aid.
Finally! So what do you think the big turning point was in that, Larry? Like, what happened?
A combination of a few things, I guess.
Yeah,
it's never finding...
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Never finding New Kasuto first. Needing to double back to Maze Island cost a little bit of time. I wouldn't say a lot of time. But it's just not arriving at not having the whereabouts of where Reflect is at the same time of not having the key for Palace 1, because you had to double back to Maze Island to get Palace 1 complete. Or not complete, but get to the item that gave you Fairy. And so it was a little bit of one, a little bit of the other.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of tricky just because they were both doing things. I mean, it felt like Kool-Aid had the lead, and then he just never found those spells, never went back and did that. So really, I think the most important thing is to become dig shake as quickly as possible. I mean, full dig shake, you know? That's just reduces your lost time.
And we are joined by the winner here, Nirm. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Why don't you take us through that amazingly awesome race and time there?
Yeah, very fast. Well done.
Thank you. So it was interesting because there was so much block in the west. There's 2 hammer block caves. I never did see grass tile. I did a little bit of a run around looking for it, and then the first thing I found was raft. So I figured, everything's probably going to be in the east. So I just after I actually went east early and then game over, and then was like, you know what, I should probably look up here first, and that actually worked out because I ended up with downstab before going east, and then after that, just running around there, picking up the magic key in Maze Island was really, really key. Ha, get it?
I do get that. That's a pun. Is that pun, or is
Hoyo.
that, if you say the word that you're referencing, is that still a pun?
I don't really know. Actually, I would assume so.
Yeah, I guess
I
so.
think it is.
It was a good one, though. It was 9 out of 10.
And then went to Palace 2, and then I hadn't seen either of the P-Bag caves, so I figured I'd check the P-Bag caves before going into Palace 2, just in case one of them was a glove, and lo and behold, it was. And so I just it was all over from there.
The grass tile was a magic container, and it was in the biggest swamp you can find on the Western continent, but like several tiles from the coast. So you may have found the swamp and may have decided not to scroll the screen because it was so big.
That's probably accurate.
Yeah. One of the turning points in this race was the fact that you got the key on Maze Island your first attempt around. You did your due diligence and found both items. Then when you went back to 1, you found the means to get the kid to get Fairy. Kulain explored half of Maze Island, found neither item, left. Not only dipped into 1 and didn't have the keys to get to the item room, but he also dipped into 6 and was met with a fairy block as well. So he had to go back to Maze Island to get the key eventually. He had to go back into 1 to get the kid, to get Fairy. So a lot of time there wasted that you avoided by just doing what was in front of you. So very well done.
Yeah, when I saw the spell in Darunia ended up to be Fairy, I was like, oh crap, that magic key I found is the only way to progress. So I knew I was in good shape at that point.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I say because I hadn't found Fairy before that, and so the only way through Palaces was, that magic key.
Yeah, one of the things that could have turned against you was the fact that in not finding the key, Kulain turned around and found the glove. Where did you up A after you found the key?
I sure did. I went straight to 1.
Yeah, so Kulain walked out of Maze Island and found the glove instantly right after that as you went to the other side. So while we were praising you about the magic key and maybe Kulain never going back to try to find it, he found the glove and whoa, wait a second, Nirm just left that area. How long before he goes back to that area kind of thing?
Yeah, it turned out to be really fortunate that I was able to find everything before really starting Palaces. Outside of 1, before I did 2 through 6, I already had everything I needed. So it's just nice and quick when that happens.
Yeah, and a good point brought up in chat by Gimmick Soldier was the fact that Kulain never had Reflect until after you finished the race because he never found New Kasuto, and on your second exploration of the Eastern Continent, you found New Kasuto and wrapped up all the other stuff, like you said before, going into 2. So you had all the knowledge early, and Kulain was still trying to fit pieces into the puzzle.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised that the difference was as great as it was, considering how close our first one was.
Is there anything that you did and you're like, man, thankfully I did that instead of something else maybe I was thinking about doing first?
Going through Death Mountain really early and then finding, oh, hey, this pass-through is literally right next door. And having that nice little quick jaunt to get to the south side was really handy. And that's not necessarily something I would normally do either. But since it was the first cave, I was like, well, screw it, I'll just take a look. And then once it was right there, I was like, oh hey, look at this.
Was that the only way to get over there?
No, I think Jump Cave went through,
Okay.
if I recall. Like
But it was just...
right side of Jump Cave was in the north, and then the other side was in the south.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't see that. I just wanted to know if it was like Death Mountain was required, but either way, it was definitely the quickest way to go.
Yeah, something like that doesn't happen very often.
Are there any rooms in? We can see Kulain at Carrick right now. Are there any rooms in mixed small and large enemies that you just say, "Man, I hate this room" when these flags are on?
Always waffle rooms.
Waffle rooms, yeah, that's another good one. There were two actually in the seed. The room in 3 that has the blocks on the floor that normally house keys and pee bags, but without the keys and pee bags, were like polar bear heads, 2 iron knuckles, one of them being blue, a doom knocker, and a Stalfos. And you went in there, and I just started talking about how I hated that room, and you just cast thunder, and you were just like, "All right, I'm through, I'm done." And then there was another room that Kulain was just in 4 with the crumble bridges, and it had a blue iron knuckle on it that you avoided by casting fairy. You're not really afraid to use magic, are you, when you need it?
Not when I'm trying to go as fast as possible. Usually that I'm a little more liberal with magic when I have the magic key. Like if I'm using fairy to get through doors, I never want to use my magic.
Yeah. Do you think, this is the last question I have, Buzz, do you think that the drippers in 2 yielding 20 point XP enemies actually saved you time?
I don't necessarily think so. I mean, at the point I found 2, it was the last numbered palace I found. I was already at 423. I might have done a little grinding to maybe attack 5, but at that point, so much time had passed. I don't really think I would have spent too much time. So it probably saved me maybe about a minute worth of, like, depending on what it was, it might have saved me a little bit of time. But
I parlayed Conor McGregor with Nierm 20 minutes in Palace 2, and that one's already dead.
I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem, man. I mean, listen, you've made me more money than you've lost me so far in life. I don't know what that means, but you know, we can put that in a Nightbot quote if we want.
Where's my sub emote, Larry?
It's there.
What happened to it? It's not there for me anymore.
I flipped them. Well, we're in randomizer main. Well, I don't know if you're trying to do it now. I flipped them because I switched ahead with the LAR AF, and it took a couple days to approve.
I see. Okay.
There you go. But Kulain's wrapping up 2 here. Now you're moving on. You're going to face the winner of Jackamus and Jam Evil in the next round. It's going to be best of 3 because it's a final 4. That's what we do in best of 3. We also switch up a few more flags, and I'll just bring them to mention right now. We are putting on Shuffle Life Refill. So when you cast life, it could go. You can only get 1 bar of life back. Maximum 6 heart containers. You start with 4, but you can only find 3 on the overworld. The 4th one will be replaced by a 500 point P bag. And road tiles have the potential of being unsafe. What are your feelings on these flags?
Honestly, not all that different from what we have now. I actually, like Shuffle Life Refill, that can be like annoying, or it can be really nice because you can be like, oh, life costs like 20 and it refills like 7 bars. That's great.
What is? Do you know what it shuffles to? And I'm a victim of not knowing this because I don't know if this is one of the ones that are documented on the wiki. Is it between 1 and 4 bars?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, we'll look that up. Buzz, do you have anything for our champ here?
No, I don't. I think you covered most of it. I just say, yeah, well done, good time, super fast.
Thank you kindly. I'm looking forward to see who wins Jackamus and Jam. If Jam wins, then it would be a rematch, and then if Jackamus wins, I'm probably going to lose.
So you're rooting for the rematch instead of the losing?
I think, I haven't really seen Jam play Zelda 2 all that much, and Jackamus doesn't have to play video games to be good at them. He seems to be the kind of guy who can just, go like 3 months without playing a game, and then all of a sudden, no, I'm going to put up this like 58. So I feel like Jackamus is way more unpredictable, and that's scary to me.
Jam's I'd call him a bit of a dark horse. I mean, he came in, being very new to the game and learned it pretty quickly. Coming off his crazy marathon, so you know that he's out of practice. At least for the time being. But yeah, your description of Jackamus was pretty spot on. So it'll be a good one.
All right.
Yep. And no matter, like, so far, my prediction bracket, spot on. Just saying.
100%?
Well, not really?
100%.
You picked Josh ED.
I picked Josh D.
You picked Unos.
I might have picked Unos.
Everyone picked Junos, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a joke.
Okay. Well, I knew it was a joke, but I had to I had to, parlay that joke. I had to hedge it and make another joke on top of that in case it wasn't.
I tried to write your name in, Buzz, but it wouldn't let me.
Yeah. Hey, I beat Unos like 2 days ago or something like that, so it can happen.
Officially
Was it
or
Legacy of the
unofficially?
Wizard?
Legacy.
No. In Zelda, I beat Kool-Aid and Unos a couple days ago in a 1 heart container race.
See if we can get the prostate exam in chat. Can I say that on this channel? I can, right? I'm a
Doesn't
mod.
look like
They don't have those emotes in Randomizer Mania.
Oh, we did it. And speaking of doing it, Kool-Aid just did there. How's the weather there, by the way? Is everything going well for your area?
up here, I'm far enough north to where it's probably about 45-50 mile an hour winds right now, and it's raining pretty good. But like that's really no different than like a northeast thunderstorm, but it's just lasting all day.
Can you go
That's
outside
it.
with the microphone and give us a eye on the ground kind of report?
My microphone cord isn't quite that long.
Mm.
Otherwise, I would totally do it.
Okay.
You're supposed to just start blowing into the mic.
I have mercy for the people watching the stream.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
I mean, this is an Angry Larry production.
It's true.
Oh, it's not on the Angry Larry channel though, so there's.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we do have to take certain liberties to.
We can't let loose until about 35 minutes from now.
What's happening in 35 minutes?
Am I allowed to promote that?
I can't stop you if I ask a direct question.
We have a double header for the SHI tournament, the Summertime Hot Invitational. It's
I
gonna
think
be
it's supposed to be a triple. Just saying.
a triple header. That's gonna happen.
It might be a quintuple header because I have to play Bent Glass Tube and I have to play Dig Shake. And
Good lord.
Of course, we never scheduled because we're too cool to schedule stuff.
Yeah, but we have Niram, our current guest, playing Rose City Saint. Then following that, Rose City Saint will play Ryan 7 in Panic Restaurant. Coming up on Angry Larry's channel in about a half hour.
And just to be fair to our sponsors, there's a Final Fantasy Randomizer race on this channel coming up directly after this race at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Kool-Aid finds the dead end. Let's see if he goes in the Eon Drop or he's going to explore the other options. This one's the closest, and it looks like he is going to take it.
Yeah, I'm going to say the way that this one was, it does kind of like loop you around, but as long as you don't take a left turn, you're going to go straight to T-Bird and Dark Link. It was a pretty favorable Great Palace. A lot of rooms for it being linear, but very, very, very generous.
Yeah, L7, L7 right there. And this one does have the jar. This one does not have the jar? I thought this one did. I thought there was no enemy here.
Jar might be further in on this one. I don't remember.
No, you know what it might be? It might be a MOA off screen.
Yeah, probably a MOA.
Did you guys see? I know there was a little bit of debate about what Beam Sword does, and Beam Sword picks up P bags and keys if they're placed in the basement.
I was gonna say, I unintentionally, I just was like, "Oh, hey, have you guys seen this?" And then it was just like a 20-page like discussion, and then like people were posting videos and stuff. I had no idea that it was going to become such a thing.
BGT did some science with an A, on stream that night for fun, and he replaced the the wizard, the knight that gives you upstab. He placed a key in that room and replaced the dude with a moa. And he went in there and he's like, and the moa wasn't there. So he picks up the key, he's standing there, and he's looking, and he's like, well, why is the moa not here? All of a sudden, the moa comes roaring off screen and just hits him. Like, it was the greatest troll thing I've ever seen in a video game, where it wasn't there, and you're just sitting there, you're like, all right, yeah, I'll mark my map, let me just pause here, I'll go get coffee. And all of a sudden, moa just comes from off screen, like, on a tape delay, and hits you. It was, like, the greatest thing I've seen. We need to implement that in some rooms here.
Put MOAs in the item rooms.
Yeah, people getting
not a bad idea.
People getting too careless with their mapping and casual playing during tournament races. We need to give them reason to keep going. You know, we're doing it for the benefit of the people. Hey, Nerm, if you're still there, and you are there, we see Thunderbird for Kulane. How scared were you when you arrived at that elevator room before Thunderbird that you just went on the biggest loop ever and we're back to the beginning?
Scared enough to look.
Yeah, you definitely did look up, and it was the one-piece chicken room with a bot.
Yeah, it was a definite concern. I expected, oh crap, I just spent a billion years. It's going to be Kulane versus Nirm all over again, where I went the wrong way in GP and lost the race the first time round, but fortunately not the case.
If that room went right, if that was like one of the rooms with the false floor that you have to jump over, would you have gone right since you were in that room anyway, instead of go back down and go right?
No, I would have went down just because because of the last race, actually.
Yeah, that's exactly what you did the first race, I think. You took the upper path instead of the straight path. And Kulane is on Darklink right here. We have some time. We can get him on the interview if he wants to join us. We do have to end this before 9, so I have to cut the post-race interview by 75%.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the opposite, well, not opposite, but the difference in margin of victory from you guys' other races is very apparent.
Yeah, the first one was a really good one.
5 seconds, yeah. Yeah, that was a barn burner, as we call it.
And there it is. Kulane is done. Still a great time, 1 hour and 26 minutes. Unfortunately, in a knockout stage, great time doesn't actually move you on. He'll be joining us on the rail, watching the rest of this tournament. But a fantastic effort, race, and tournament for Kulane. And he's joining us right now. Kulane, how you doing? All right, we might be having one of those Discord audio moments here where Kulane has to quit and join us again.
Is that called a Coach Crab moment yet?
No, it used to be, but this is just this happens just way too much now. Then it doesn't.
Yeah.
So
yeah, since the update. Kulane, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, Nirm, GG, that was a good game from you. Really fast time. I think you took the fastest time of the tournament so far now.
I thought early on, I want to say Jay Coper had like a 105 or a 106, but yeah, it was
He had a
really good
108,
time.
and before that, I had a 107.50. So you took the fastest time from me.
I see.
Well, I mean, I had a sub-hour, but I couldn't cast Thunder.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, yeah, good race, Kulane. I mean, yeah, you had a really good time, but Nirm's time was just, blindingly fast. I was just gonna ask you, how do you think that went? What do you think kind of set you back?
What set me back? Well, if I went into Palace 1 early on, would have grabbed the child, then I would have got the spell in Darunia my first time there. And if I went through the North Cave from Darunia, I would have found Nukrasudo, got the other spell, and I would have had to hunt for items.
Yeah, that was really if it had to come down to a couple different decisions, like looking at the race from the outside in, um, that was the big one. Was the fact that you just didn't know, didn't find New Kasuto, didn't know what to get there, um, but
And
also
I
the
didn't
fact
get
that
to
yeah,
grab the key on Maze Island the first time I went in there either. I had to go back for that.
yeah, that was another one. The fact that you didn't grab that one, you did get the glove earlier and quicker, but you didn't have a lot to do with it because you didn't have the ferry or the key. So that's really what the difference was in that race.
So yeah, I'm disappointed, but that I couldn't put a closer time up to Niram. But I'm still impressed. He must have ran a really good seed to have come over 20 minutes ahead of me, even though I made those decisions.
Yeah, that's a again we were just touching on that earlier. A crazy margin of victory as opposed to the last race that you guys had.
Yeah, it was just one of those runs where everything kind of fell into place right as I was hoping it would fall into place, and it just kind of worked out.
So did you jump into Palace 1 without the key? Did you go in there early in the west before going to the east or something like that?
No, I went. I didn't do any palaces until I had the magic key, and one of the first things I did in the east was go through Maze Island in its entirety.
Yeah. Because I found the medicine on the east, I decided to warp back to the west instead of looking for the other item on Maze Island and looking for a new Kasuto.
Yeah, I think the first item I found in the east, what outside of whatever else was in Maze Island, was the magic key. So I didn't like I had found obviously Naburu, which was right there, and then the next thing I found was Maze Island. So it all kind of sped up from there.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to cut this one a little short on the post interview, even though we probably said everything we needed to say anyway. There is a race coming up on Randomizer Mania, a Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament race that needs to get going and set up by 9 o'clock, so we might as well take this opportunity to bail on out. Nurm, it's still a good race, still a good time. Unfortunately, wasn't good enough. Thank you for participating in the tournament, and you played the hell out of it to get to the Final 8, and we'll probably see you in the next tournament, I'm sure.
Yeah, I wanted to get to the next round to face the winner, to hopefully face Jackamus the next round, but now I'll never know. But Nirm will avenge me and hopefully go on to win the tournament now.
You can't count out Jam.
Yeah. One day you'll get that Jackamus versus Kool-Aid race you've wanted for several months now.
Right, but I guess it wasn't meant to be for now, so next tournament, hopefully.
And Nurm, good game. Congratulations and best of luck to you later on the SHI tournament in the Panic Restaurant races and in the next round of this tournament.
Thank you, sir.
You got it. And Buzz, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
If you're available, I think we're doing this all over again in like half an hour.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. This is gonna be a blast.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, take care, and thanks for the host.
All right, guys, that will do it. That is the third of four round, or second, I'm sorry, of four round 8 races here for the Zelda 2 Randomizer Tournament, round of 8 quarterfinals, whatever you want to call it. Coming up tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, is Dig Shake versus Joshy D. And then still yet to be scheduled is Jackamus versus Jam Evil. Remember, next round is a best of 3. And we'll get those scheduled pretty shortly. Check out the tournament homepage for more information, schedules, and all that good stuff. I'll post the link in chat probably before you even hear me say this. And stay tuned for the Final Fantasy Randomizer race on this channel. So thanks for joining us and have a good night.